I'm Margaret Ann Windsor, and that's my dad, Edward the Eighth. This is my Aunt George O'Keefe. My mom, Claudia Ruth, married my dad, Edward the Eighth. He never married Wallace Simpson. A double did. And they took me to Moulton, Alabama, right here. I was born in 41. That's my dad and my mom, Claudia Ruth, my Aunt Georgia. Don't have a picture of my mom. This is me with that family where they took me, and they're all dressed up. They didn't really look that way. It was a hell in 1941, Moulton, Alabama. I grew up thinking I was a twin when in fact both twins were dead. This is Wallace Simpson, who history is all a lie. It told you that Wallace married my dad. An impostor was used to take down my father, and I was kidnapped in 1941, born in 39, and I've put all this up on other videos, so if you care to go and look at it, I'm the legal heir, and it went through channels, and I am. And that's why they had to kidnap me, my own Uncle George. And this is Obama in here with Caroline Kennedy. He made her ambassador to Japan. Well, Roosevelt, this is Wallace with Eleanor, First Lady, ha. I don't think it's okay to kidnap me and take down my country. And that's how they, after 1941, when they kidnapped me, is when the world changed. Israel became a state again. The UN was formed because the USA went in with its military after they kidnapped me and part of my family and the Illuminati. The Roosevelts was president, and he appointed Joe Kennedy, and thus the Kennedys helped with the takedown of my father. They were part of the global government Illuminati, Rockefellers, Rothschilds, Bilderbergers that control your press today. Rockefeller Center, the United Nations, they created when they put all their military bases, which were illegal, the United States. That's what your friends do, right? They invade you and they kidnap your monarch. And they positioned themselves so that the rest of my family, Denmark, Sweden, Norway, and the Netherlands, they control by positioning themselves. That's a monarch system, or was. I think it still is. And they're all related to me, just like I hate to say it, but Elizabeth. So anyway, the Netherlands, she sold out Beatrix. She's a high up member of the Illuminati, the very people kidnapped me with Elizabeth and etc. Now then, I've told you that as getting to this. Before I found out about my kidnapping, and by the way, I don't know if I showed you Timothy McVeigh, he had a chip in him. He told it, and that's a book by Teck Mars. I was basically telling some of the same stuff, and I knew that was a mind control murder because the ones I've talked about have been done deliberately in patterns. So anyway, he told that he had chip in him, and he was convicted and killed for the Oklahoma City bombing, and Terry Nichols is still in Oklahoma prison. So these people are hated by history because history's alive. When they can do that to my dad, kidnap me, and I don't know where my sons who are heirs are, it's hideous. So let me get to the I think I've told, no, I haven't either. I've done 3 of these because I'm pretty bad health right now, and wow. Anyway, let me go to this. I was doing the book on mind control. That's when Larry Flint was shot. He did that article on me in 1984, April. I was out there during a political campaign because one of the doctors I wrote about Larry McDonald was U.S. Congressman, doctor from Atlanta. His plane went down in '83, the KAL that was shot down by the Soviets because it veered into the airspace. So I put all this up too, so I won't go into that again. So Larry Flint flew me out there. I'd never met him, but I knew that it was a mind control murder because it fit in the patterns. So he flew me out there, and he even said that in the endorsement that I knew who was responsible for his shooting. So I haven't seen him since, by the way. But there's a list of people killed using mind control as a murder weapon. It's the Tesla files that were stolen in early 30. You can create an illness, or you can cure it, or you can program people and take away their own personality. You override it. It's almost like a game of chess. You got that brain, you got that brain, and you're all a bunch of puppets. And if you go back to when I started finding out in 1976 doing the book, they did it in part with ham sets. I didn't know it when I first started doing the book. But technology is such with satellites and all that. My God, look at how advanced everything is from when I was doing the book, and then from 1930 when King Ferdinand, by the way, was one of them that was the person was programmed to shoot him and kill him. And then you had in England, what is the, oh God, I can't think of it now, the killer that they tried to say, they tried to say one of my relatives did the murder, well, you know, the one that so many women were killed. That was a mind control, and done in patterns, by the way. But now then, back to Treetop. I'm doing the book. Elvis Presley's killed. I'm going to list another couple that were stars, and that's all that were killed and done in patterns. Steve McQueen, Natalie Wood. Ask yourself why Natalie Wood. Look up Natalie Wood and see all that. I'm not sure her case isn't still open. But I lived at Treetop. Started doing the book because the doctor I worked for was cardiovascular, and he had put a chip in chairman of a board, and they could control his decision making or make him have a heart attack or whatever. It's not funny. It's sick. I laugh to try to get through this hell and the way I've been treated and what's been done to me. And my family, my mom and dad that never got to be with me, except for 2 years, and my country. So the next job I had while I'm doing the book, though, was for the corporation where the man had the chip put in him. He's chairman of the board. That was the oddest thing, how I went to work there, and the accountant was showing me the doctor's report, the insurance and all that. And the man was chairman of their board. It's Dixon Tomato, by the way. And if you want to laugh at the Tomato, they've changed the name to Dixon. I don't know if they exist, but back in '78 they were pretty huge all over. So now let me get to Moonraker. I'm jumping around now. I've only put about 4 tapes up, and I run over the time and have to redo it. The man moved in next door to me, and by the way, let me say this. When I finished high school, I worked for a year before I married for Curl Wholesale Company. It was electronics, so I know what a ham set is and all that. I did inventory bookkeeping. So this is '76. I'm doing the book. A little bit later, Elvis Presley's killed, and I'll leave it at that. What was used on him, and on O.J. Simpson, etc., etc. There's a list. The man that just moved in, he said, wanted to use my phone. I probably shouldn't have gone. I didn't know him, but I did. That's me. I trust, even now. He didn't have any furniture, but he pointed at the wall, and he had a ham set sitting there. In essence, he's telling me, okay, and how you use a ham set is just like they do now with other technology and have for a long time, satellites. You teach a person the Morse code at a low level, like the dog can hear a whistle that you can't hear, his ears will perk up. That's what they do. You don't know you're getting the Morse code or the subliminal, and you're being programmed and you don't even know it. Now, let me remind you, the mental health has been used on this. There's plenty of, where are all your doctors on this? The Aurora, Colorado, and James Holmes, that man was programmed to the hilt. He's being held and misdiagnosed, and yes, they do know. That ought to scare the hell out of somebody. Because that could tell you about a conspiracy, but hey, if you stop and think about all this, you say conspiracy, you say mind control, you say misdiagnosis, person was programmed, they'll lock you up. So that's what's going on. They're using the mental system. You bypass going to court, okay? So I can't, to get this up, and I'm going to do it here, I hope, among all the others I've put up. But mind control is hard to prove. It's invisible. These were done in patterns, and I had a letter from the FBI, I'll say that again, June the 23rd of 79, issued through the U.S. Attorney William Harper in Atlanta, ongoing investigation, national security involved. I found out about my real name, my kidnapping in 83. Nobody will touch it. You have to get an attorney and a prosecutor to prosecute it. And I totally believe that I know that's why I can't get anything done unless my country is able to bring me back, and the United States invaded it and controls it. So fat chance, right? I think Comey came out and gave you this country about Hillary, and you had enough sense to know that she should have been prosecuted. What he did was alert you, and then before turning it over to Loretta Lynch, the U.S. Attorney General, okay? Because it was hidden. She's not going to be prosecuted. She might now. I don't know. She broke the law many, many times. She should be, instead of loving her. Now, I'm looking to see if I'm going over here, and I'm holding it right up to my nose, I guess. But, okay, I'm being redundant. I'm not going to get this one put up because I'm jumping around too much. By the way, I'm hurting right now, too. I was going to get to that, but hey. Columbo, I was going to use that. Columbo, I woke up this morning and turned TV on actually it was 4:30, and it was on. And he had Doberman pinchers that had killed a man. They were security dogs. Okay, he had to prove who gave them, they were programmed to, when the telephone rang, to attack. Okay, how do you prove it? That the dogs were just a weapon. They were programmed to attack, just like people at Virginia Tech. The young man was programmed to shoot. These shooters that turn around and shoot themselves. Look at him. One of them, by the way, was right down here recently on Patterson Avenue in Roanoke, right downtown Roanoke. It's almost like doing it right in everybody's face here in Roanoke. They don't get out and march. They hate my guts because I'm telling them the truth. It's a sick thing that's gone on here. But I've forgotten where he was from. I think he's anyway, he was the one that supposed to have bombed in New York, and he was in a coma. Okay, I had somebody that lived down the street, and the minute that it came over the news that his family and he had lived on, they still do, on Patterson Avenue, I believe, here in Roanoke, downtown. Man, I never heard from her again. She's supposed to be close and wanted to help. I never heard from her again. Oh, you better believe it. Anyway, they're programmed. That's what I'm saying. It's how it's done. And Columbo finally solved it by reprogramming the dogs to lick him to death, love him to death. And anyway, he showed it with how the Doberman pinchers were like a gun. And that's what I'm saying. People are being used and programmed to kill, and they're blamed for it when they're no more than the gun that somebody uses. You get back to the agency that's doing it or who's doing it, and in this case, it was the owner of the dog. the Dobermans, that had programmed the Dobermans. Now, I'm not going to get to what they were doing to me, or doing to me still, because like mind control, it's invisible. I have an immune disorder, and when I'm around toxic fumes, it makes my immune system attack itself, and over time, it's really taken its toll. It can age you, the inflammation tears your lungs, your kidneys, and I guess that's all I'm going to say about that. I put it up way too many times.